At least I'm a pretty good friend. Looks like it's just you and me, buddy. Okay, all right, we'll give you a little more time.
Oh God, I'm a clone.
You're not a clone.
For a while, we were content to not know whether she was or wasn't.
And who is that?
A clone?
I always felt like, yeah, she's a clone, which means that there's a Beth out there. Let's meet her.
Honey, you're back.
You seem surprised.
You never wrote.
And never exploded?
And then he proceeds to lie to both his home daughter and his space daughter about which one is a clone.
He told me you're the clone. What do you think he told me?
If one of you is still alive, you're my real daughter. If you're both alive, don't hurt the other one. She's just a clone. She's not worth it. I'm coming, baby.
That piece of shit.
I wanted a version of Beth that was more like Rick and therefore ironically hated Rick.
I came back to kill him, you know. I'd like to help.
Which Beth is real and which Beth is a clone? You jerk-offs ready to get the answers to your burning questions?
You know, what happened there that night?
I want you to decide.
Beth turned around and locked eyes with him and said, "Tell me what kind of daughter you would like me to be." Rick's response was to roofie her and avoid the entire conversation, which is an ancient Greek level of bad fatherhood.
And then he can't bear to even know which one is which.
Big money, big money.
Which is, I think, the most cowardly part of it all.
You literally don't even know which of your daughters is real. Of course you don't.
He made a non-choice and committed to it really hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you get no answers. But, and in effect, I mean, hopefully that's not a dissatisfying thing because the answer is one or the other.
The core of it is finding Beth some solace with that. And I think the only solace she can find is in there's none and being okay with that.
I don't care what's in that vial. Yeah, me neither.
I love having two moms.
And I love having two wives.
Isn't the more important fact that they both exist and the reason why they both exist?
Yeah, you're a piece of shit either way.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my Rick and Morty Season 5 video for that post-credit scene in the teaser, setting up the big story arcs going forward in the more serialized elements of the show. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. We'll do a new Rick and Morty merch giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave your favorite moment from the season on the video. So just going down the list, starting with number 5, in the concept of Beth's clone. Dan Harmon in that video says his original idea was that the Beth at home should actually be the clone, so the real Beth is out there somewhere, let's meet her and see what happened to her, in wanting her to become the Rickest version of Beth, almost exactly like Rick. They kind of teased that back during Season 3, Episode 9, when Rick gave her the business and the big speech about his philosophy on life and what she could or could not do with herself. The truth is, I'm not a good father, and you're exactly like me. So this is the Beth that became just like Rick. I know there are a lot of theories about which one is actually the clone and which one is the real Beth. There are actually a couple of different points of evidence that sort of conflict with each other. According to Dan Harmon, this Beth that became like Rick should be the original Beth, but then during the episode they try to shuffle it 3-card Monty style so that he doesn't know technically. Then some of you that play the Pocket Morty's game have also noticed that this Rick version of Beth is also being called Clone Beth in Pocket Morty's, but technically Pocket Morty's isn't canon to the show, it's just like an extra game that they play, so you can't really use the video game as evidence that this Rick version of Beth is technically the clone. I would go more based on what Dan Harmon's original intent was. But obviously they throw Rick under the bad dad bus again, because they also have him try to remove all chance of knowing which one was the clone and which one was the real Beth. Within the logic of the show, the reason why he did that was so that he could pretend to lie to himself and he didn't have to take any responsibility in the matter. It's the most non-choice that he could possibly make in that situation, because if he had fully chose which one was the clone, he knew that one day he'd eventually have to destroy the clone so that the real Beth could go on living, because his responsibility as a father should be to his real daughter first. That was why when he was talking to Space Beth here, he said that before he was going to kill the clone, he was going to transmit all of her memories into her body so that she would remember everything that happened while she was away. But they kind of teased during the episode, they make this Space Beth think that he started to love the clone more than he loved her, the original Beth. But their intention with the ending of the episode, where both of the Beths just agree to a truce in sort of a co-living situation where they both have a place at the head of the family, is them just making lemons out of lemonade and trying to bond in their hatred of their father. Them trying to be better than Rick, despite the fact that they're both exactly like him, as the joke continues. But because Space Beth, as they call her during this video, is the cool mom, she'll just continue to travel around on adventures fighting the galactic government with her resistance cell in future seasons, and just probably show up occasionally. It just depends on how often the writers want to use her in adventures. My assumption is just based on how frequently they've done canonical big serialized episodes in the past, which is not that frequently, we won't see her in a ton of episodes. They'll probably just bring her back for the occasional really, really big episode throughout the rest of the series run, like maybe bring her back once during Season 5, then again during Season 6, Season 7, and so on. Right now, going by their 10 episodes per season and the 70 episode renewal that they got after Season 3, Rick and Morty has 10 seasons confirmed. That is a long time, so that's the biggest reason why all their episodes aren't serialized real heavily like this one here. They're trying to make the show work more like the uber long-running shows like The Simpsons, South Park, Family Guy. They rarely do hard serialization. South Park out of that bunch is probably the closest to doing regular serialized episodes, but they kind of reset things at the end of each season. They do serialized arcs within the season, but by the time you start for a new season, the kids are mostly back to normal. Simpsons and Family Guy, that'll probably keep going to the end of time, only have loose serialized elements, and for the most part things go back to the normal for their families at the end of every single episode. The main reason why syndicated shows do stuff like this is because animation especially performs better, sells better in syndication, and makes more money when you can watch any random episode and follow the story without having seen the previous episode. And you can't really do that with heavily serialized shows like Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones. The Phoenix person tag scene at the end seems like the same kind of setup as the Beth clone. They'll bring him back every once in a while, season to season, without ever truly killing him off. Also, it's a multiverse, and they do dream sequences like the Story Train episode, so they do make it difficult to say that they ever really get rid of characters. Everyone press F in the chat for Squanchy. I'm sure we'll see him come back someday. The whole joke about the Jerri spin-off TV series with the garbage truck is also just a funny tag scene because the spin-off only lasts till he runs out of gas, and it's a silly premise to begin with, but it's also a reminder that they're probably actually thinking about developing official Rick and Morty spin-off TV series for Adult Swim. Every successful show in the history of TV at some point tries to develop a spin-off, mostly so they can make more money. Sometimes the spin-offs are decent, and most of the time they never truly outlast the original show. Right now, if we're talking about possible Rick and Morty spin-offs that they could do, at this point it would be a show probably about the adventures of Space Beth when she doesn't come back to visit the family. Then they could actually do the big comic book crossover event series thing where they have the huge adventure together that covers a full hour of story between the two shows. They do it every year with the DC TV shows on the CW. It's a huge boost to ratings. They make a ton of extra money. So it'd be kind of weird if they didn't eventually try that with Rick and Morty. There's still a couple big serialized elements that they didn't pick up on during Season 4, just kind of skipped over. What about Evil Morty in the Citadel of Ricks? Yes, we did get that scene during Season 4, Episode 6, but because it was the story train, technically it doesn't count. It was them making a joke about crazy fan service. But if we're using that episode as an example of what they would and would not do, they had a big Tammy and Phoenix person scene during that, and if they actually did bring them back at the end of the season, then we can logically say that they're still planning on bringing back Evil Morty in the Citadel in a really big way. Who knows if they'll keep doing the Emperor Poopy Butthole character too, because he wasn't around before Season 4. If Dan and Justin are all about selling more merch and toys, they would probably bring him back too, because that's just one more toy that they could sell. But I know you're all wondering what's going on with the Season 5 episodes, when are they going to be released? Well, if they can power through the rest of production on the episodes that they're working on right now, they'll drop at the end of the year just like Season 4, at least the first half. Justin Roiland is optimistic that they will be able to get episodes out by the end of the year. Justin also said they've already sent some of their episodes off to be animated. They have not recorded voiceover dialogue with the actors, but that happens pretty quickly, so it's pretty easy to get that out. They've already been hiring writers for Season 6 and started breaking the stories for Rick and Morty Season 6, just to give you an idea for how far ahead they're working. But because of the virus delays, what's most likely to happen is that we only get half of the season at the end of the year, just like we did for Season 4, and then the other half next spring. Or if they can't get enough of the episodes finished by the end of the year, they'll just hold all 10 episodes till next spring early sometime and just air all 10 episodes without any kind of break in the middle. So either way, we get half of the episodes at the end of the year and then half next year, or all 10 early next year. For the most part though, Season 5 will just be like Season 4, mostly one-off episodes and then a couple serialized episodes throughout the season. But I will be doing Rick and Morty Season 5 bonus videos when we get new information about the episodes or they do interviews. They do drop a lot of teasers throughout the year, so leave all your requests in the comments below. And everybody just leave all your theories about what they're going to do with the Season 5 stories. But congratulations to the Hoop Man, you're the giveaway winner from my last big Rick and Morty video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your details. Everyone click here for my full Rick and Morty Season 4 finale video, and click here for my brand new Marvel Phase 4 trailer video. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe. I'll see you guys tonight.